Hello everyone. Today we will be dealing with a very interesting poem, Television. And this poem is written by Roald Dahl. Roald Dahl was a British writer. In this particular poem, he calls a television as an idiot box. And we all know, till date, it is known like this only. Why he calls it an idiot box and how does he prove it and what suggestions does he give in this poem, we all will be discussing in this lesson. As we know, in our exams, we will be asked 3 types of questions so far as this poem is concerned. There can be short answer questions. There can be essay type questions of critical analysis of this poem. And also there can be reference to the context. It means that we have to go through all the lines of this poem. But as you yourself can see, the words used in this poem, they are pretty simple. And if we go through these lines seriously, as a mature reader, very many things are going to be clear in our mind very soon. But since we have to do it, so we will be reading first the text, and while reading this text, I'll be telling you meanings of only those words which are difficult. Otherwise, I think you people are mature enough to understand. So let's come to the text itself. Title of the poem, Television, and the poet writes like this. The most important thing we have learned so far as children are concerned is never, never, never let them near your television set. Or better still, just don't install the idiotic thing at all. So what does the poet want to say? That the most important thing which we all must understand, we must know, is that we should never allow our children to sit near television. He repeats the word never, never, never. That means he's dead against this thing. No children should be allowed. He says in the next line, or better. And what is the better way out? और इससे ज़्यादा better क्या हो सकता है? Just don't install. घर में लगाओ ही मत. We should never ever install this television. And what does he call this television? The idiotic thing. He calls this television the idiot box. In almost every house we have been, we have watched them gaping at the screen. They loll and slop and lounge about and stare until their eyes pop out. Last week in someone's place, we saw a dozen eyeballs on the floor. So in a very comic way, the poet explains that he has seen the same scenario everywhere. What is the scene? In every house, children are sitting and they are gaping at the screen. What is gaping? When we stare at something with our mouth open. बड़ी हैरानगी के साथ, बड़ी खुशी से के साथ और बड़ा surprise, with wonder and surprise when we look at something. And what is loll and slop? Loll is when we lie or stand in a very lazy manner, relaxed manner. And what is slop? When we, spill a liquid because of our carelessness. कुछ गिर जाता है, बिखर जाता है. And this is what happens. Most of the time when children are busy watching television, they are so much concerned about that particular program or so much engrossed into that they hardly can understand what is happening otherwise in the house. And in a very comic manner, in the last few lines, he says, last week in someone's place, we saw a dozen eyeballs. Aankhein hi bahar nikal aayi. How beautifully he tries to explain that people are always, and especially children, are always engrossed in this, watching television, which he calls the idiot box. He further writes, they sit and stare and stare and sit until they are hypnotized by it, until they are absolutely drunk with all that shocking, ghastly junk. He says that children get so addicted to television that they are hypnotized by it. What is hypnotized? Yes, we know. It is when we try to capture the attention of a person completely, and then the other person is not able to move from that place. Similarly, children are so hypnotized that they do not feel like leaving that particular room where the television set has been installed. They sit and stare and sit all day through. Every time they keep on just staring at the television, just as the television has hypnotized all those children, until they are absolutely drunk absolutely, completely, with all that shocking, ghastly junk. He calls whatever is there on television as junk. What is junk? Rubbish. He says whichever program is there, whatever is going on, all that kind of junk, they take it completely. पूरा का पूरा उनके अंदर चला जाता है. And that is why he says this is an idiot box and children should not be allowed to sit even near television. Then in next few lines he tries to find the reason why people do this. घर में television लगाया क्यों जाता है? Very interestingly he tells us, oh yes, we know it keeps them still. Still means आराम से बैठे रहते हैं बच्चे. They don't climb out the windowsill. They never fight or kick or punch. They leave you free to cook the lunch and wash the dishes in the sink. But did you ever stop to think, to wonder just exactly what this does to your beloved tot? He says, yes, we do this simply because this gives their parents chance to do their work. The mother can go and cook lunch and do everything, and children, they don't make noise, they don't fight with each other. That is why television is installed, and the child is asked to sit in front of television so that वो अपना देखता रहे और mother जो है वो अपना काम करता रहे. But in the last 3 lines, he puts a very good question to each and every one of us. He says, but did you ever stop to think? क्या कभी हमने बैठ के ये सोचा? To wonder just exactly. हमने कभी सोचने की कोशिश भी की what this does. What is this? This means television. कि television आपके प्यारे बच्चों के साथ क्या कर रहा है? That means what harm? Obviously, it is not something good for which we should be worried. It is the harm that the television is doing to our children. And now we have most important lines of this poem with us. Very many times in your exams, you are given this paragraph for reference to the context. So it is very important. Kindly pay full attention and listen. It rots the sense in the head. It kills imagination dead. It clogs and clutters up the mind. It makes a child so dull and blind. He can no longer understand of fantasy, of fairyland. His brain becomes as soft as cheese. His powers of thinking rust and freeze. He cannot think. He only sees. The poet says, look at the harms which the television is doing. कौन से नुकसान कर रहा है? The first thing is, it rots the sense. Sense means thinking power. Rots. You know, when we use this word rot, we say rotten apples. It's not कि एकदम से कुछ गल गया. Rotting imagery is like धीरे धीरे जब कोई चीज डैमेज होती है, we call it rotting. ठीक है? So he said it rots. ये नहीं कि एक ही दिन देखने से सब कुछ हो गया. When continuously children are watching programs, then it rots the sense in the head. It kills imagination dead. When we are free, we become creative. We think about something and then we create and then we imagine and then we actually do something. But if we are just sitting and watching, that means imagination is dead. Creativity is zero. It clogs. Again, he uses an imagery. Clog is when something is blocked. बंद हो जाना, रास्ता बंद हो जाना. And clutters up the mind. Clutter, untidy things के जब हम collection कर देते हैं. When we, there is something and we fill all those untidy things into that particular place. Similarly, उनका जो mind है वो भर जाता है और block हो जाता है. भर किससे जाता है? For all those things which are not useful. Untidy, bad things. And clogging is done. Choke हो जाता है, बंद हो जाता है. It makes a child so dull and blind. The child cannot see anything else. He's just watching TV. That is all. And that makes him dull. He cannot think anything else other than that. He can no longer understand. If he's asked to understand something, he cannot. He cannot imagine a fantasy. Fantasy is imagination. कल्पना की उड़ान उड़ना. A fairy land. परियों का देश, परियों का घर. उसको कुछ वो he cannot imagine. His brain becomes as soft as cheese. As soft as cheese, just as we can mold in whichever way we want to mold the cheese. Similarly, the brain is like that. If keeps on watching TV, it will become like that only. His powers of thinking rust. दो चीज़ें होती हैं. उसकी थिंकिंग पावर या तो उसको जंग लग जाता है बिकॉज उसको यूज ही नहीं किया जाता, या फ्रीज, या वो खत्म हो जाती है एक जगह पे. इट्स डन, इट्स ओवर. He cannot think. So in the next line, very clearly he declares that children who are always watching TV, doing nothing, their thinking power is over. He cannot think. He only sees. सिर्फ वो देख सकता है, imagine नहीं कर सकता, सोच नहीं सकता. Then in the next few lines, the poet changes his tone. All right, you will cry, all right. You will say, but if we take the set away, what shall we do to entertain our darling children? Please explain. He says, I know the answers of each and every parent. If I tell them, okay, don't install television, तो they will ask, okay, अगर हम इसको उठा दें तो क्या करें? बच्चों को entertain कैसे करें? Our darling children, please explain. बताओ ना, बच्चों को फिर क्या करवाएं? We will answer this by asking you, what use the darling ones to do? He says ki yes, I will give you the answer. How used they keep themselves contented before this monster was invented? He calls television a monster, rakshas. Tang karta hai jo, something which is inhuman. He says children will do the same what they have been doing before this television came into existence. Think about that time. टेलीविजन के बनने से पहले, इन्वेंट होने से पहले क्या किया करते थे हम लोग? हैव यू फॉरगॉटन? देन ही आस्क्स एवरीबॉडी कि हैव यू फॉरगॉटन? आप तो उस जनरेशन के हैं व्हेन टीवी वाज नॉट देयर, एंड व्हाट यू यूज्ड टू डू, डोंट यू नो? वी विल से इट वेरी लाउड एंड स्लो. देन दिस इज द सेंट्रल आइडिया. ही सेज दे यूज्ड टू रीड. यस, herein lies the main thing. Everybody used to read. पढ़ा करते थे. They would read and read and read and read and then proceed to read some more. Great Scott, Godzooks. That is, it's a kind of, sign of exclamation ki, okay, you don't know. We used to read so many beautiful books. In next few lines, the poet explains and he reminds the parents that before the invention of television, children used to read a lot of books on various subjects. They were nursery shelves contained books in large quantities. There were books everywhere on the floor of the room of the children. And they had all types of topics with them. They used to read stories of so many people, so many kinds. But why are they not available now? So this is what he writes. He says, one half their lives was reading books. The nursery shelves held books galore. Galore means bhara pada. Books cluttered up the nursery floor. And in the bedroom by the bed, more books were waiting to be read. Such wondrous, fine, fantastic tales of dragons, gypsies, queens and whales. and treasure isles and distant shores, when smugglers rowed with muffled oars, and pirates wearing purple pants, and sailing ships, and elephants and cannibals couching round the pot, stirring away at something hot. It smells so good. Shalln't be? Good gracious, it's Penelope. Penelope is a large turkey-like bird. And then is in the next few lines he explains that not only nursery rhymes and all those books were available for very little ones, even the younger ones used to read. He writes, the younger ones had Beatrix Potter, that is the name of an English author, with Mr. Todd, the dirty rotter. Then he's referring to different books where different characters, they became very famous with the young children. And Squirrel, Nutkin, Pegling Bland, and Mrs. Triggy Winkle, and just how the camel got his hump. All those stories, jo batati thi how it happened, and how the monkey lost his rump. Rump is when something which is not being in use, that is gone. And Mr. Toad and bless my soul. There is Mr. Rat and Mr. Mole. Oh, books, what books they used to know. He's just reminded of all those stories and all those books and all those rhymes and all those poems, that there used to be very, very beautiful time when children were involved in studies. Oh, books, what books they used to know, those children living long, long ago. Next he tells the parents, and he is like begging before them. Because when the parents ask, okay, if there is no television in the house, what the children will do? So he has given us a huge list of books which children should read, and they have been reading since a long time. And then in these lines he says, so please, oh please, we beg, we pray, go throw your TV set away. And in its place, जब TV को फेंक दिया जाए तो क्या किया जाए? Go throw your TV set away, and in its place you can install a lovely bookshelf on the wall. What should we do? Instead of that TV screen, we should put a very beautiful bookshelf on that very wall only. And children should go and make use of those books. They fill the shelves with lot of books, ignoring all the dirty looks, the screams and yells, the bites and kicks, and children hitting you with sticks. He says it's not simple. When you change TV with books, आप replace करोगे TV की जगह bookshelf बनाओगे, तो there will be some problem with the children, and they will create problem. They'll be annoyed कि भाई हमें तो मजा आ रहा था तो ये क्यों नहीं हो रहा? What are you doing? And say very comically he says, yes, your children can hit you with sticks also. Fear not. But he says, you should not fear about that, because we promise you then in about a week or two, because children are very small, youngsters are pretty good, they are like cheese, हम उनको जैसे mold करेंगे वो हो जाएंगे. He says, wait for a week or two, or having nothing else to do, जब बच्चों को कुछ और मिलेगा ही नहीं करने के लिए, they will now begin to feel the need of having something to read. That means we should help them to develop habit of reading. This is what the poet wants to convey through this poem. And in the last stanza he says, and once they start, what do they start? When they start reading books. Oh boy, this is an expression. Look at the beautiful things which are going to happen in their life. You watch the slowly growing joy. Then you can feel actually the joy which is coming with the help of these books that fills their hearts. Their heart will be overwhelmed with joy, because books contain happiness, and they will be enjoying those books very soon. They will grow so keen. They will wonder what they have ever seen. Then they will come to know कि ये काम तो हमने कभी पहले क्यों नहीं किया. in that ridiculous machine, that nauseating, then they will feel the uselessness of TV. This is what they had ever seen. Ki kya dekh liya? That ridiculous machine. Again, that ridiculous machine refers to television. That nauseating. The poet is using very harsh word for television. Nauseating, sickening, disgusting, foul, nuclean, repulsive. All these words, they convey unpleasantness, which is connected with television, screen. And later, each and every kid will love you more for what you did. He says, today you feel that they are not going to like it, but soon when they develop this habit of reading books, what will they do? Each and every kid will love you more for what you did to them. What you did? You asked them, you helped them to develop the habit of reading books. With this, we come to the end of this poem. Very many times in your exams, you are asked critical analysis of this poem with a very important question, which says that you explain the saying that reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body. I hope the answer to this particular question is very clear in your mind. This is true. Just as we need exercise for our body to develop, similarly, we need to develop reading habits to develop our mind. I hope you agree with me, and from today onwards, we make this promise that we will also develop this habit of reading more and more books. Thank you, and God bless you. Take care.